Hey everybody, welcome to day 11 of Get Out of the Rat Race Rut. I'm Beth Campbell, career coach and mentor, former corporate captive, now helping you find your work wonderland. If you need someone to help guide you one-on-one through a career or life challenge, please send me a message or go to bethannecampbell.com/coach me. Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching live, let me know you're here in the comments. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. And of course, make sure to let me know if you have any comments or questions so I can address on a future episode. Before we start today, I just want to acknowledge that today is September 11th, the anniversary of a very dark time in the United States and really the world. So I encourage everybody to take some time today and really feel the gratitude for what you have in this life right now and the sacrifices that people have made so that we can have the abundance that we do. So, all right. Today, we're going to get back to the meat and potatoes of the corporate world, and we're going to talk about people. Mainly, those bitter, complaining coworkers who never have anything good to say about work. You all know who you are. You all know who they are, right? You might be one or you might be around one of them. It's like the negative Nick or Nelly, and sorry if your name's Nick or Nelly, I'm sorry. But they constantly complain about something. Their work sucks. The processes that they use suck. Their boss sucks. They have too much to do. Nobody listens to them. They didn't get a good enough raise. Their home life sucks. Their kids are assholes and their parents are too. They're sick and tired of this company. And all they do all day long is complain, complain, complain. You could cut the bitterness around them with a knife. And honestly, they may be totally right. I used to be this person, and everything I ranted about was justified. I was overworked. I was sick and tired of my company. Nobody could tell me what my priorities were. Everything was a priority. Our processes were shit. I almost choked somebody once over a 57-page process document. I wasn't being heard. That's a whole other tale that I'll have to bring up. My boss was amazing. That was the only thing. Everything else that I have just said was true. But all that complaining and ranting and bitterness and negativity weighs on you. When you're around the complainers often enough, it might even influence you to become that person. And look, it's important to vent. It's healthy to vent. But when all you do all day long is complain, then energy is like a black cloud that sucks the life out of everybody around you and yourself. And venting feels good for a while, but it doesn't make your life any better. It doesn't make the pain go away. It doesn't stop the madness. It doesn't decrease your workload, and it doesn't make your manager hear you any better. What it does do is drag down the energy of the rest of the people around the complainer. And then sometimes you get a group of complainers and you feed off each other's energy. You start to crave that negativity. Now you have like a black hole of bitterness, and you can almost feel it, even if you're not in the club. I was a horrible complainer at my first job. I was the queen of complainers. It was an absolute shit show, no doubt. All of the things I mentioned above applied except for my shitty boss. I had a great boss, but he was overwhelmed himself. But I could almost not control myself. As I've said before, on this series, I started to crave the negativity. I would sit in meetings with my peers, and then everybody would leave, like the upper managers would leave, the executives would leave, and we'd spend like 10, 15, 20 minutes just complaining, and it was addicting. There were like 3 or 4 of us. We were all in the same boat, experiencing the same pain, and we bitched about it for eons. And I look forward to it. Like I said, I was the queen. I was the goddess of complaining. And this went on for years. I'm not even joking. I'm embarrassed to think how many people who were not in the complainers club who I impacted with my negative energy. And my poor boss, he got a lot from me. So one day, my awesome friend Corey Joe invited me to an event that caused me to change my attitude. And this was like a weekend vision board workshop, unrelated to work, right? It was at some hotel near Detroit, Michigan. I was living in Michigan at the time. I had never done a vision board before. I'd never did any mindset work. I'd never done manifestation. I didn't know what The Secret was. I mean, I was aware of the book, but I didn't know what it was about. None of this. I know law of attraction. I didn't know what that was. I had no idea what to expect, but I like hanging out with my friends. So we drove to this hotel. It was a cold and rainy February morning, and we were just going to learn how to do a vision board. And I just, okay, fine. So the class was run by this woman. She's so amazing. Her name is Amelia Brown. She goes by Mimi. She's just phenomenal. She's like a speaker powerhouse. She either is or was on a TV show in the Detroit area. And she just happened at the time to work at the same company that Corey, Joe, and I did. So that's the connection. So we're sitting there in this hotel conference room with our vision board supplies, and Mimi starts talking about positive thinking. Like, she never mentions the law of attraction, which is very positive thinking centric. She never says law of attraction. She never says The Secret. She never actually talks about the book. She just talks about reframing our thoughts because we attract what we put our energy into. And she used the example of a job. I think she was maybe talking about her husband at the time. She said, if we spend all of our time and energy thinking about what isn't working with our job, then we're just going to continue to attract that negativity. It'll just continue to be bad. And the more we put out there about how shitty it is, the shittier it will get. And she didn't say shitty, but that was the gist, right? That's my words. So, we receive what we put out there to the universe. So to make things better, we have to reframe our thoughts into what we want instead of what we don't want. And that kind of blew me away. Like, first of all, she was totally talking about me. I was that bitter, resentful, complaining person, and I was putting all that energy out into the universe. No wonder it kept getting worse. No wonder it never improved, even though I complained to my peers, my boss, my spouse, anybody who would listen. Your wish is my command, says the universe. Even if you don't believe in the law of attraction, you have to admit that putting all that bad mojo out there, that can't be a good thing. So the idea of reframing my thoughts and that could change everything, that was like a revelation for me. And it made so much sense. Something just clicked. The shit show I was in just kept getting worse and worse. And I was complaining about it more and more. Vicious circle. So that day, I just decided I was not going to focus on what I didn't want. I was going to focus on what I want. So what do I want? What do I desire? Not what do I hate, resent, despise, etc. And it takes time to make that kind of mindset change. I mean, this was like 180 degrees. And there have been a lot of times when I forgot myself. And I'm not saying I never complained again. I absolutely did, and I still do. But I try not to let myself get pulled into that abyss, because that negative energy, especially when it's like multiple people and you're one of them, it's like, it sucks on, like, it's like a giant hoover of blackness. So if you find yourself being around the constant work complainer a lot, just be aware that it's probably impacting you. And it's okay to be supportive of somebody's venting, but just don't let that energy go on too long. Excuse yourself and walk away, or if you're on a call, get off the call. I mean, set your boundaries, right? That you're talking about your own energy being impacted. If you feel comfortable, maybe say something like, your negativity is a little hard for me to hear right now. Can we talk about this later, right? Again, I don't want you to not be supportive, but you know what I'm talking about when it goes beyond support into now it's just you can feel the life being sucked out of you. Or you can ask them, once they get through their kind of their vent to release their stress, then what do you want to see happen? What is the positive outcome that they can talk about? Kind of flip it on them, right? And not everybody's going to be receptive to the positive spin, and that's okay. You take care of you, boo. You take care of you. And if you are the one complaining, decide to stop right now and reframe your thoughts. Choose to change you. Imagine an amazing boss. What does that feel like when you interact? How does it feel when that they talk to you? What are they saying? Imagine processes that are clear and succinct. I know it's hard, you people that are in big corporate. I know it's difficult to imagine that one. But imagine that they're clear and succinct, and they have a super supportive team that helps you when you have a question. Imagine your calendar having one meeting at a time. Oh, joy. Or maybe even, I know this is another one's hard to imagine, unbooked time every day so you can actually get your work done. Imagine your paycheck is increased by 10% or 20% or 40%, whatever it is. Focus on the positive side of your complaints, how they make you feel, right? turn them into opportunities. I know that's cliche, but it works. You get to decide which thoughts that you accept or reject is worth your energy. Rampant negativity is not worth your energy, so change it and change your life. And see it in your head, believe it in your heart, and be amazed. Your life will change. Your life will improve when you adopt a more positive mindset. So just try it. Try it for a while, and then come back here and let me know how it goes. Okay, there you go. The complainers. How to deal with the complainers. And yes, I was the biggest one. So tomorrow we're gonna talk about another oh joy. We're gonna lighten it up a little bit. I'm gonna tell you the story of the time that I spilled coffee on my head at a big high profile business conference. Yep, it's going to be a little dorky, but there are some really good lessons in there that apply to corporate and leadership. So that'll be a fun one. Okay. Stephanie, thanks for joining again. She likes the new hairstyle. Thank you. Sometimes I just, change it up a little bit. So it's been a little cooler. I don't like having stuff on my face. So I just but today it's cool. I don't like having stuff on my face because when it's hot and it's summer, I live in the southeast United States, it gets humid. So, but thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that comment. I shall take it upon myself to do this more. I feel like I could almost be like Elizabeth Bennet with the little side things, like from the 1800s, or like Bridgerton, maybe a little bit. Anyway. Thanks for joining again, Stephanie, and thanks to anybody who's watching the replay. Don't forget to connect with me here on Facebook or LinkedIn if not already. Thank you for joining Get Out of the Rat Race Rut. You're here because you're a badass. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I'll see you tomorrow.